Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Claire. I don't know how to do channel intro. Hi. Okay. This last year has been really crazy, right? There's been kind of nothing but also everything going on at the same time. And I came into something this past year that I really love and I wanted to share with everybody and kind of inspire other people to do. So I got into journaling last year at the beginning of the year. Coincidentally before quarantine started, but kind of amped up when quarantine started. And so this video is just gonna kind of be me talking about, I don't know, like the tips and tricks in getting into journaling and getting into habits that you enjoy that you can kind of, I guess, what's the word? Intersperse in your own life. I don't really know what the word is. Intertwine and permeate. Talk about what I do with journaling and then I'll go into like general steps, I guess. So I am someone who's always used pen and paper for everything, like at school and stuff. It's just the way that I learned better. It was the way that I retained information better. Definitely followed into, you know, like my home and personal life because I've kept journals kind of throughout my entire life, but I didn't start doing it kind of more seriously and pay more attention to it till this year. I think that honestly I found it to be so important this year because of all the stuff that's happened and honestly all the changes in my own life. Like, not only has there been a global pandemic, but I graduated high school, I started college, I'm about to move. Like, there's been so many changes in my life. I turned 18. Like, there's so many things that I would just love to be able to look back on in a decade, in 20 years, and 30 years, and just see and read my thoughts from that time. I just feel like that's going to be so important and so valuable to me at that point. And so honestly, looking back at stuff that I've only written like 6 months ago is really valuable to me now. So I'm just really excited to see how that kind of, how much weight that holds, you know, as I keep going. And so I'm really happy with how I journal and I'm really happy with kind of what I've developed over time. So let me show you that. So I have 4 journals that I do use right now. That sounds kind of crazy now that I'm looking at it. I compartmentalize a lot of stuff, so that's why there's 4 of them. Now I have a reading journal, a habit and life journal, a planner for school, and then kind of just a blind entry writing, just straight up writing journal. So these 2 journals are the exact same journal. I got them off of Amazon. They're the Paperage bullet journals, 8.5 by 5 inches. And I kind of think that these are like a dupe for Moleskines. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they are a little bit smaller, I guess, in page number than Moleskines, but they're also like $5 or $6 cheaper. And I just like them better because Moleskines kind of intimidate me. I love these journals and that's why I bought 2 of the same one. This one, I also got it off of Amazon, but I honestly don't recommend it. My reading journal, I did do kind of an in-depth setup of this journal. If you're curious about that, I'll link that. This is new. I only started this for 2021. I was doing my reading journal and my life journal together, but it was getting really confusing. That sounds ironic, honestly, but this is just where I put the books that I've read, the books I want to read, favorite quotes, stuff like that. Yeah. Then for my habit and life journal, I guess, that's where I do a habit tracker. I have kind of a time capsule letter for me to open when I graduate college. I have a list of my friends and family's birthdays in here. Things that I want to buy for myself and for other people, new music that I've found, that kind of stuff, movies I want to watch, you know, just general life. School planner is just, it's got like a calendar in it, I don't know, day by day, what I need to do, when I need to do it. I hate looking at this thing, and I'm still on winter break, so I'm not looking at it in detail right now. And then my entry journal, so my entry journal I got from a place in the mall, Typo. I don't know what that is. And this is just, it's just lined paper. This is where I do kind of like my Dear Diary kind of stuff, I suppose. Who knows? In regards to stationery, now I really am not big on stationery because it honestly stresses me out. I love watching YouTube videos where people use their stationery and set up journals, but it's honestly not for me because when I buy myself fancy pens or stickers or things like that, I end up not wanting to use them, to savor them for some reason, and I don't use them for their actual like purpose. Just don't invest in that anymore. But so I just use Crayola super tip markers for drawing and decoration. For writing I use Sharpie pens. I actually really love these pens. I think that's kind of cool. I don't know, and they last a really long time. I I loved the black one so much that I literally bought like a refill pack. They just are really reliable and last long and don't really bleed through the page, which I appreciate. For pens, I kind of just use any pen that I find, but I do like the Papermate Inkjoy pens. Gel pens, you know what I mean? Yeah. I do use washi tape to decorate some stuff. I got this on clearance at Michael's like 4 years ago. Pasting stuff in, I do use this cool paper glue pen. It was only $2 from Paper Source. Very nice and fun and fresh. I also got like a tape runner, double-sided tape runner, but I just simply wouldn't recommend that. Just buy double-sided tape from CVS Pharmacy if you really want that. So those were all the supplies. So as you can tell, I keep it really simple with stationery because it just kind of distracts me from like the main purpose of it. If you don't want to do this, I guess, traditional route of pen and paper, you could do online journaling as well. I know that there's things like Notion, Evernote, just the Notes app on your phone. You know, there's so many different ways that you could do it, but I would prefer pen and paper because I've seen in some of my entries that I look back on, I'm writing significantly harder, like either my handwriting is more sloppy or you can see where the ink was bleeding through the page a bit more because I was angry, and I just kind of enjoy that more. You can kind of feel like the passion in your words. You can see where you scribble stuff out. You can't really scribble stuff out online, you just delete it, and I just think that it feels a bit more genuine for me when I have it on pen and paper. So I created some steps, I guess, to journaling for a beginner if you just need some guidance. So okay, let me just read those. Step 1 is get a journal. So it really doesn't have to be anything fancy. I didn't spend more than $20 on any of these journals, and honestly, you can just find a notebook in your house and that will be perfectly fine. I would recommend against spiral notebooks because they do fall apart sometimes. I just think that a bound notebook lasts longer, looks a bit neater. If you really care about that, I'm using this because this is the journal that I had lying around, but when I fill this one up, I don't think that I'll go back to a spiral notebook. So step 2 would be just to write. That sounds really annoying, I'm sorry. When I started writing in this journal, it was just me talking about my day. It was during my senior year, so I was really busy, so that was kind of easy for me to write about. So there was like talk about my romances, there's stuff about my angst of growing up. There's a lot of those. I kind of don't like reading those right now. Releasing any inhibitions you have and just writing is honestly a very good place to start. I know that when I started writing, I was like, oh, I don't want to write that down in case someone sees it. Realizing it was because I was thinking about how someone else would feel reading that or how they would think of me reading that. As far as I'm concerned, no one else is going to be reading these journals and it's for me. And so I want to be as genuine and as true to myself as I can be. So I'm just kind of releasing those inhibitions. And if someone reads these journals, I guess I'm just going to have to kill them. I do paste in prompts. Sometimes when I'm stuck. I use the Bliss Bean prompts. She did like a 70 prompt PDF that I really like. I like those prompts a lot, so I'll drop that below. But some other prompts that I've kind of come up with myself. So I like to do emotions, so like what's making me mad today, what's making me happy today. Those really do kind of spark like, why do I feel happy or why do I feel sad? What am I grateful for? What do I wish would change in the upcoming days? Like that's a good starter for me. There's some goals that I have. What's one thing I can do better in the upcoming week? And then my favorites recently have been what's one movie that I want to watch again, or what's one song that I really like, because I have a habit of tying songs to emotions and vice versa, and so that kind of just sends me on a spiral and a tangent of writing. Why do I like this song? Why do I like this artist so much? So that's kind of, if you're like me, that might be helpful. I also really like recalling events and kind of trying to write them down in as much detail as I can, just kind of reminiscing on happier times. I've done a lot where I try to remember little stories from summer camp or from school or from hanging out with my friends. It's just a really good way to kind of live your happiest moments again and write them down. And especially since, you know, these papers, as long as you don't like burn them or something, they're forever. And so as long as you write down, you know, as much detail as you can, you'll have them forever. So that's kind of fun, right? Well, one thing that I would say about writing is to not be daunted by the page count. Journal entries can be 2 sentences, they can be 10 pages long, you know? And I know that when you start a notebook, at least for me, I guess, looking at all those empty pages sucks, and writing on that first page really is painful. And so I just would encourage you to, I'm rooting for you, get past that first page, because that's honestly the hardest one to write on. So don't feel like you have to write a book for a journal entry. Like, this is truly for you to get your words out. So my final step would be just to make time for journaling. So making it a daily chore was kind of my worst decision, because it became like another thing to check off on my list of homework and chores to do. Sitting down and writing when you don't feel like you have anything to say is not the best, in my opinion. If you don't feel like you want to write anything down right now, that's perfectly fine. That's better than trying to force something out. To remind myself that this was something that I, enjoy and don't have to do, that's why I separated them. I used to journal in my planner. Weird for my brain to open up my journal or open up my planner and see schoolwork, but I'm also supposed to talk about my life. Like, that wasn't fun for me, and it was also like reminding me, like, why am I journaling when I could be doing homework, So it was important for me to separate them. You obviously don't have to separate it into 4, because this is kind of a lot for even me. So this was something that I kind of developed over time because it worked for me. And so take this and what I say and remix it into your own thing. Make it something that works for you, not in my brain, and you don't really want to be. My habits might not work for you, and you don't want to make this into something that you don't enjoy because you're trying to fit a mold. So just start any way you can. Just get a pen and a paper, or get an electronic device or whatever, and just write. Simple, right? So that's all I have. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that I gave you a good rundown of how to start or how to keep journaling. I really hope that more people start journaling, because I love it so much, and I hope that I can help other people love it too, because it's helped me through a lot of stuff, I think. Cathartic, I suppose. Yeah, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. If you journal, comment how you do it, because I would love to hear how other people do it and their habits and what's worked for them over time. I'm done talking. So thanks, besties. Bye.